O'Neill Outside Radio is brought to you by these fine sponsors. The Whitetail Institute of North America, the gold standard for food plots. Realtree, camo hunting, fishing, and land management products. Tough Shed, great storage sheds and custom buildings. Works, power and garden tools. Fisher's Choice, the ideal solution to live bait. CVA, quality muzzleloader since 1971. QDMA, Quality Deer Management Association. Arctic Ice, the most durable, versatile, and effective cooler packs available. And Furminator, the finest food plot implement on the market.
Good morning, boys and girls, from Black Powder headquarters at Three Falls Cabin in the North Georgia mountains. CVA presents Realtree Radio. Welcome to a brand new, unused Saturday morning. Well, would you like to set aside politics for a little while and talk about outdoors and things that are fun and time with your family? Well, this is it. This is O'Neill Outside. Saturday mornings on WSB 95.5 WSB and AM 750 and the SB Nation Radio Network all over the country. So welcome to the program, everyone. We've got 2 hours of outdoors and several subjects to discuss this morning. It's my pleasure to tell you that we'll have the radio prize package, the tribute to the Medal of Honor recipient. We'll have reminders about our podcast. You can listen to O'Neill Outside and this program on a podcast every week on iTunes and Waypoint TV Collective and on and on and on. I would urge you please to take the time to investigate at o'neilloutside.com. At the bottom of the homepage, our trip to Alaska next June. An awful lot of you are going. We have a few, 3 or 4, balcony rooms left of the ones we have chosen or committed for. And why not go with us to Alaska? I've been on that trip a couple of times. It is the #1 cruise I've ever taken. So, lastly then, in the website at o'neilloutside.com, check out O'Neill Outside, 65 Years in the Outdoors, and it's a book. It's not John Steinbeck. It's not Ernest Hemingway. It's a memory that I wrote about the people and places along the way after 65 years in the outdoors. I have questions for you today. I hope we can discuss them about the outdoors, deer hunting, late summertime fishing, and several things that would apply to your activity outdoors, especially if you're a woman and want to be involved in outdoor activities. Ooh, yes indeed. We've got a new sponsor coming up. I'll tell you all about that. A new gun range for you to visit. And we'll have a lot of things to talk about this morning over the next 2 hours on O'Neill Outside. Get ready. The telephone numbers are 404-872-0750 in the Atlanta, Georgia area, or worldwide at 800-972-8255. 800-972-8255. This is O'Neill. You stay right there. We're headed your way. 12 minutes after the hour. Welcome back, everyone. This is O'Neill with O'Neill Outside from the Bojangles studio high in the mountains of North Georgia. I'll have to tell you that you hear about the Atlanta weather and how hot it is everywhere. It's 61 degrees up here right now. We're at about 2,700 feet. So it's cooler up here. Now, it's my privilege, before we get to the callers on board, to tell you that this program, Realtree Radio, is brought to you every week by Realtree Camo, Tough Shed, Stripling's General Store, the Whitetail Institute, Arctic Ice, that's spelled ARCTIC. You can find it online and at Amazon. CVA, the Furminator, Quality Deer Management Association, Fisher's Choice Baits, and Snellville Heating and Air. Now, before we get to anything else and get misdirected on lots of things, let's go ahead and chat with Donna. She's calling on the program this morning. Good morning, Donna.
Good morning, O'Neill. I'm Donna who hates coyotes.
I know you do. They're rascals, aren't they?
Oh, yes. I'm just calling to remind hunters that September and October is disbursement season for the young male coyote kits.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of counties have competitions for the culling of the young coyotes. Their moms apparently throw them out, and they become the transitory coyotes that you read about. But I just wanted to remind people that there's a lot you can read about online about hunting them, and that since they eat deer so much, I would like to think that deer hunters would become coyote hunters too.
Absolutely.
But also, I just heard on the news before your show started that a man from Meriwether County, I believe, caught a 14-foot-long alligator in Lake Eufaula. Isn't that impressive? Yeah. But anyway, the Georgia Outdoors News magazine has lots of information on the best ammunition and the best thermal imaging scopes and all that. I just want to encourage people to hunt coyote kits in September and October.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, well, that's when the family gets kicked out, so to speak. So you
got all these
youngsters.
Mm-hmm.
But I will comment continually on this subject. The following thing: the only way
the trapping. I know.
You bet. The only way you can diminish the coyote population is to trap them.
I understand that. That means somebody has to go and check the traps and then kill or relocate the coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
And where I live, you have to have permission to go on people's land.
Yeah, it's always the case.
I know. There's a plus and a minus. It's just September and October, and it's coyote kit hunting season. So,
Donna, I have a question for you, please.
Yes, sir.
Would you call yourself an outdoors woman?
I'm a gardener, and I have dogs.
Uh-huh.
So, yes, I guess. I'm a bird watcher. When I worked in Africa, I became a serious bird watcher. So, I guess so.
I think so, too. Two things. You don't have to be a hunter to be an outdoors woman. But you will, if you can do that, you have the ability to, I believe, enjoy outdoors. It's that same thing I go to. The more you know, the more you can enjoy it.
Well, I guess I am an outdoor. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that question
I think
before,
you're an outdoors woman.
I like flowers and birds and dogs and wildlife, and you're probably right. And I love natural beauty of the outdoors. So I'm flattered that you would ask. Thank you.
Department of Natural, I wanted to point out for you, but for the other ladies who might be listening to the program today, that Georgia Outdoor News, the Department of Natural Resources has
that's a great magazine.
Oh, yes, it is. But the DNR, Georgia DNR, and I'm sure other states, because right now the SB Nation's going to 38 states, they do have excellent instruction and encouragement to become an outdoors woman on the internet, and there are programs of involvement to do so. Yes,
well, I've been a master gardener for a long time, so I think there's a lot of wonderful stuff that the state of Georgia offers.
Oh, that's right. It's the reason that more women aren't involved in the outdoors is they just don't understand it. They haven't been exposed to it.
Well, I don't know how that exactly started, but I called about my concern about the young lady I gave my prize box to, who said girls don't fish, and I heard some gentleman call and say they were talking about Georgia fly fishing women or something, but that's sort of an expensive thing for a 13-year-old girl to start doing.
Well, Georgia fly fishing, that is correct, but the DNR, they have programs that are free so that a family with children can learn about the outdoors and become proficient.
Do you think they should do some stuff in the schools, O'Neill? Would that be a good idea?
I certainly do wish. I used to do occasionally at middle school. And when the administration would announce that O'Neill is going to be there, and for kids to come in early that day, and we'll have a little gathering at 7:30 in the morning about fishing. Oh, it was full every time.
I've heard you talk about that. Yeah, you haven't talked about that in a while, but I just think we're missing something. We're losing in the passing down from generation to generation. I just think we're in busy urban lives, and just the state of our culture and families, a lot of skills are just getting dropped, and I think it's sad. But I'm flattered that you would ask me if I were an outdoor person. I hadn't thought about it before.
Well,
but
you are. Congratulations.
Thank you. I wanted you to. Somebody needs to congratulate this fellow that got a 14-foot alligator in Georgia. I think that's exciting. So, deer hunters, go kill coyote kits, please.
Yes. Well, isn't it interesting? Then I'll let you go because we've got several other calls here. Think about this. The Pleistocene era lasted from 2.5 million years ago until 11,000 years ago. It was an ice age. It killed, in America, in North America, it killed lions, rhinos, hippos, the short-faced bear, the 20-foot sloth. It killed dozens and dozens and dozens of animals. They froze to death.
Really?
The alligator made it through it. I wonder how. He went underground.
Oh, really? I was going to say, because in Africa, crocodiles, they're different. And but I have this theory: we have red clay, and so does much of East Africa. And we used to have bison, and they look like the fat cousins to the wildebeest. That kind of thing. So that's interesting. I didn't know that. But
that's right. That of course, and I'll get to something else, but that of course is my response to the person who is so frightened of global warming, because when the last ice age ended and the glaciers retreated from Indiana and northern Kentucky all the way back to the Arctic, there wasn't a single coal-fired power plant. There wasn't a single automobile on Earth. But the Earth warmed up and to today's temperatures.
Well, Mother Nature has certainly shown us that she's going to have the last laugh this last week with the hurricane.
Donna, I'm glad you called.
Enjoy it. Thank you. Go hunt. Go hunt.
I cut her off. 20 minutes after the hour. Oh, my goodness, I got to get out of here. This is O'Neill. A lot of calls on the board this morning. I hope you guys stick with me right there. We have a lot of outdoors to talk about. 404-872-0750 and all across the country at 800-972-8255. The SB Nation and WSB 95.5 WSB have new call letters. This is O'Neill. Please join me this morning. When we return, among the other calls, we'll get to the mailbag, and we'll talk about those things too. This is O'Neill. Why not stay right there for the next couple of hours? No politics, no finance, just fun and enjoyment and education for you and your family. We'll be back. Welcome back. 25 after the hour. You're listening to O'Neill Outside, the #1 live outdoor-based radio talk show in the world. Let's get to a couple of callers, then I want to touch in on the mailbag. First of all, let's talk to Don, and Don is calling from?
Ocean Isle, North Carolina.
Oh, boy. Did I go off too early here, guys? My engineers are talking to me. Oh, in any case, Don is on the line now. Good morning, Don. What do you say?
Hey, how you doing, O'Neill?
I'm doing well. How about you, sir?
Pretty good, pretty good. Isn't it nice to hear a positive lady like Donna on the radio this morning?
I'm getting such an echo, Don. I'm going to have to ask you to ask that question again.
I say, isn't it nice to hear such a positive lady like Donna on the radio this morning?
Oh, absolutely. She's a pleasure to listen to, and I think she was impressed that we referred to her today as an outdoors woman. And
I would say that, and I would say she's a worldly woman too. So, well, we had a visitor this week, I guess you know, and Mr. Dorian went offshore, and we didn't have any major damage here on the coast of North Carolina. I don't know if you saw the American flag that was every station broadcast. It was standing straight out. That flag was 45 miles in the ocean on top of Frying Pan Tower.
Oh, how about that?
Yep. Anyway, but we didn't, like I say, we didn't have any damage, but it'll be a couple of weeks before the ocean shuts down, and the fishing will be back like it was. So
it won't take long. It'll recover.
Yeah, I know, and I've been through about 25 of these things over here, and it's always nice to see it go by the wayside. So
you bet. Well, I'm glad you're doing well. We heard from Ross last week for a little bit, and in a few minutes we're going to get to the mailbag. How about that?
That's
you're
good.
not in there, but you can listen.
Robbins on a big dove shoot this weekend, so that's
good. Yes, I have to talk about that. Yeah, there's a free dove shoot by the DNR for children down at Flat Creek Wildlife Management Area. A free dove shoot, 8 o'clock today until noon or something of that nature, and it's a perfect place for some youngsters to be involved in a dove shoot. And there's plenty of doves, plenty of shooting, plenty of activities, lots of fun, and some good food. Dove hunt.
Yeah, I think he's got 10 Boston butts he cooked on the grill. So
right. As a matter of fact, quite frankly, a dove shoot is a social occasion.
I think I found that out.
So you can visit O'NeillOutside.com. Go to the website at O'NeillOutside.com. Right there in the middle of the homepage, you'll see where you can send in questions, comments, observations, and each week, beginning next week, we will send a package of sponsors' products. Yes, indeed, worth maybe $50. So take the time to write to us. We learn so much from you when you write to us. And if you can win something from it, then that's good. And your questions, quite often, the reason I do it, your questions allow me to be personally involved with your observations and your questions, so that when I answer them, maybe that's a question that a lot of people have. And I know I repeat myself often with my answers. For instance, here's one this week from Ken, and it's from Blountsville, Tennessee. And among his statements is he enjoys Travis being on the radio, the television show. Talks about him being a good partner and passing along information. Travis was an outdoorsman when he was 14 years old. But one of his questions from Blountville today is, when does the rut, where he lives in Tennessee? And I answer this every week. It's in the season. It's the same answer, and you can depend on it. The rut this week or this season in Tennessee is exactly the same time as the rut was last year. Almost to the hour. How so? It's the declining number of hours of daylight for that particular species of whitetail. So it's exactly the same every year. Now, here's a great example, however. The Georgia, on the coast of the Carolinas in Georgia, the rutting activity for the whitetail deer is in October. The rutting activity for the whitetail deer in the balance of Georgia is mid-November. The rutting activity for the deer in Alabama is January. They're all whitetail deer, but they're different subspecies of deer that have historically rutted during those periods of time for various reasons. And we'll get to those reasons one day. But the set, pat, smart aleck answer, when is the rut? Same time as last year. There's another comment here in our questions there about the rut being in Wisconsin. Same time as last year. It's always exactly the same in your area for that deer. Now, in the case of the difference between Georgia in November, basically, and Alabama in January is because the deer in Alabama were restocked statewide from a species that was located in the southwest corner. That, over the years, an early born fawn drowned in the spring high waters of the river. So eventually, the only deer that survived resulted from a birth or breeding time that was in January. So they were born after the high waters. That deer is the one that went to Alabama, was stocked into Alabama. So that's why Alabama, with exactly the same number of hours of daylight as Georgia, has two different rutting seasons. So how about that? So, okay, O'Neill here, 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. We have the radio press package coming up after the next break, but I wanted to get to another one of the questions. Roger wrote from Yuma, Arizona. He won a Southern Grind knife from us a few months ago, and he took the time to write back to say he's never had a knife so sharp that kept the edge from so long, and a knife that he used so often. And that was a Southern Grind knife. I have another one I want to read to you here in just a moment. Robert from Monroe, he'd love some help on where to the best place to start things to go fishing with his family. One of the things you should do is always use live bait, fish in a pond, but more than anything, use a push-button reel, a Zebco, a Johnson Century, whatever the case might be. But the equipment has to work. Children have no patience for rods and reels that stay tangled up and are difficult to use. It's up to you, Dad, to see to it that everything works properly. And youngsters don't care what they use to get a bite. Use some Fisher's Choice canned baits, crickets, mealworms, shrimp, superworms, things of that nature. They'll bite, the brim will bite, and it doesn't matter if it's a 2-inch brim or a shell cracker that weighs 2 pounds. It doesn't matter. You are with them on the bank of a lake. That's what counts. Counts more than anything is the fact that you can build a relationship with your children in the outdoors. I know I did that with my grandparents. My dad was not an outdoorsman. We went hunting once or twice, but he was not an outdoorsman. And I learned from other friends' fathers about fishing and hunting. I always went hunting and fishing with my cousin. It's a long-term process that you learn about the outdoors, and it always gives you something to talk. It always separates you from everybody. Everybody, I've said it 1,000 times, everybody can't be the starting quarterback. Everyone can't be the middle linebacker. Everyone can't be the team's best pitcher. But if you understand, enjoy, and can be proficient in the outdoors, you are very special. You're a very special middle school and high school person if you're an outdoorsman. And I hasten to add, that skill, that understanding, that proficiency will grow and grow and grow, and it will last a lifetime. Not to put down the starting quarterback, the pitcher, or the linebacker, but chances are, for very few, once you graduate from high school, I doubt you'll be the starting quarterback anywhere else the rest of your life, but you can sure be a deer hunter. This is O'Neill. I'll be back. Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the radio prize package. Put your brain in gear. And we'll, here are the rules for the radio prize package at WSB, 95.5 WSB and the SB Nation. The first correct caller with the answer to my question will win the radio prize package. The rules are you have to be 18 years old and you cannot ever have won a prize package before. Let's spread it out, okay? So the telephone numbers are 404, don't call yet, 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255 nationwide. Here is the radio prize package itself. A Bojangles gift card. They make the best biscuits. I had it twice this week. Swaggerty's Farm free voucher from the grocery store. White-tailed Institute DVD that will tell you how to plant food plots. Everything. And I want to talk about that after this question. An Angler magazine, a Realtree hat and window decal, Fisher's Choice baits, a Thunder Chicken casting float from Captain Martin Noble, an Arctic Ice freezer pack. Once you use some Arctic Ice, look it up on the internet. Once you use Arctic Ice, you won't use store-bought ice again. It's one of the best new sponsors that we have. A selection of True Turn hooks, Roadrunner lures, spinners, all that kind of stuff. It's a nice radio prize package. And it's an easy question this week. My grandson, Travis Johnson, a few years ago, before he teamed up with me for him to be on O'Neill Outside, he had his own television show. What was the name of his television show? That is the question for the radio prize package. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. It's 4:42, and I know everybody on the coast doesn't need any rain, but the rest of us do. Yes, indeed. It's dry and it's hot, and it has nothing to do with global warming. And if you would like to discuss that sometime, not politically, this is not a political discussion. If you want to talk about that, but I'd rather talk about hunting and fishing. Now, what in the world do you think? Here's a something for you. What is the best thing you can do? You just got a lease. You just got some extra property. You just bought some property. You're going to set up a deer camp. What in the world is the best thing for you to do to ensure the fact that you have deer there and that they're healthy and strong and big and happy? Put in a food plot, a year-round perennial food plot. And the first step in that category is to have a soil test. Because let's think about what white-tailed deer do. They hang out, except for the rut. They hang out, they eat, they sleep. They hang out with their friends, other females, and the fawns and the bucks are all buddies. They establish dominance among themselves, but they don't do much. But if you give them something to eat, they'll stick around longer, and there'll be more of them. And other than the management of the property and keeping down the hog population and eliminating coyotes, you can have a great deer population. Let's talk to Wade. Wade is calling from Kentucky. Good morning, Wade. How are you, sir?
Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good. What's going on with you?
Waking up at 3 o'clock and listening to some joker talk about hunting and fishing.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah, I'd seen another one of them thunder chickens out of that soybean field yesterday. What they doing this time of year?
Well, nothing.
Eating soybeans?
Yeah, they're nothing. They're trying to keep the poults alive. That's all. And the poults are getting big now. You know, they think about the fact that these thunder chickens, as soon as they are born, just think about how big they get in the first year.
Oh, yeah, they grow quick.
Oh, man, yeah, they grow fast. And they're good at staying alive, too.
Well, they got wheat.
Go ahead.
We got wheat on one side of the road and soybean on the other side.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got them cornered up there, don't you?
Very fertile area.
You got them cornered up there, don't you? How many?
Yeah.
What's the limit there for turkey hunting?
2 gobblers a season.
2 gobblers. Okay. Well, that means you got a pretty good population.
Yeah, oh yeah. They bunches of them up here.
Oh yeah. Now think about this for a second, Wade. It gives me the opportunity. Let's see, I'm not overtime. Okay. It gives me the opportunity to talk about how when I say we're talking about the Department of Natural Resources, all across the United States have managed the wildlife population. Because it was a very few years ago that the wild turkey population in the United States was like 400,000. You know what it is now?
I had no telling. Probably millions.
7 million.
Yeah, that National Wild Turkey Federation, when I was I'm telling my age, I'm 54.
Mm-hmm.
I was in 20, 21, 22. Well, Wayne Hill buy a table every year.
Yeah,
and
there you go.
We'd all get to go to that Turkey Federation banquet.
Yes.
And they done a whole lot right there.
Oh, absolutely. I've always proposed that the average hunter, the average fisherman, the average outdoorsman would be better off, he'd be more knowledgeable if he were to be a member of 2 voluntary wildlife organizations. And certainly the Wild Turkey Federation is one of those 2.
Done any fishing?
Pardon me?
Have you done any fishing?
I have not lately. It's been really hot, and I've been really busy. How about you? Have you been going?
No, but I seen on your web thing where you and I guess it was Captain Mack was down there in Carabel, Florida last year.
Oh yeah, man. That Mack is a fabulous fisherman. That's some difficult fishing down there, but there's not very many people trying it. And the grouper and snapper and all that's good fishing in Carabel.
Yeah, it's right there, like he said, Port St. Joe and Port Lucie.
Yep.
All that right there in the Carabel all together. That's like Sugar Hill, Buford, and Swanee.
Yeah, that's down in Carabel and those places that you just mentioned. I'm gonna give a description and say that's old Florida.
Yes.
That's the way.
I watched about how far I watched a while ago that I flipped over to the podcast. I'm going to go back and watch it.
Well, there you go. Yeah, you can see we have quite a few people. I don't have very many subscribers to my YouTube page, but I have about 30,000 people a week that watch O'Neill Outside on YouTube.
Oh, really? I didn't know you had that many. I'm on there now. My buddy Jamie Hall, he just hit in there. He's headed to work, too. That blame working that early?
Yeah.
Excuse me, working that early on a Saturday?
Evidently.
Cabinet business must be good.
Yes, that's exactly right. All right, Wade, I'm glad you called, my good friend. It's always great to hear your voice and to know you're out there listening.
Put me on hold, I can listen to you on the radio.
Pardon me?
When you put me on hold, I can listen to you on the phone.
Absolutely.
I can't get you on the radio station.
I'll put you on hold now, but I'll ask you a question first. Do you have a farm where you deer hunt, or do you put in food plots?
I have a buddy that's helps a man with about 200 horses on about 400 acres. And he has some horses. He has horses boarded there.
Right.
There's 4 lakes, 4 little ponds on it, and lots of woods, and it's eat up with them.
Oh, boy. Good.
I have to go over and do a little work every now and then to That's better than paying dues.
Yep.
That is paying you dues when you have to help fix a fence or something.
That's okay. That sounds like a good arrangement. Everybody lives on that kind of arrangement. That's what great capitalism is, whether you exchange money or just labor.
Yeah.
You bet. I'll put you back on hold, pal.
Appreciate y'all, dude. Y'all have a good week. Be safe down there.
Yeah, you bet. Let me see if I can make this work here. Corey, put Wade back on hold, if you will. I can't seem to make my page work here, if you don't mind. Put Wade on hold, and I'm sure maybe he is right now. You're not hearing me now, are you, Wade?
I can hear you, yeah.
Well, they need my page is not working.
I'll call Jason back. He'll put me on hold.
Okay. All right, do that then.
Just dump me and I'll call Jason back. He put me on hold.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. All right, it's 50 minutes after the hour, almost 51. We're talking deer hunting. Wait a second. We're talking deer hunting? That's not deer hunting season yet. But you have to prepare for the deer hunting season. And one of the things I want to talk about this morning, in that preparation, besides food plots, besides clearing lanes, besides the management of the property, I think you should practice your shooting. Improve your accuracy. I tell you, one of the most heartbreaking things that ever happened, and it has, to me, is to have a good shot and make a poor shot. And the deer, buck or doe, whatever the case might be, whether you're hunting for meat or hunting for trophies, that they get away. They're hit. They're shot. They eventually die, but you don't receive any rewards. You make a poor shot. Now, there's a couple of things. Number one, you have to have the correct aim. You have to know what you're shooting in the sentence with a preposition. What you're shooting at. Where do you hit the animal? You can find that out at the Department of Natural Resources websites in whatever state that you live. But number two, practice at the range. Have full and complete confidence in the consistency of your shooting. If you don't have that, don't go. And one last thing in that regard is that you should shoot freehand, standing up with your arms around the shoulder strap. You should practice freehand, and you're going to be surprised at this, practice shooting from the other side. You never know during the season, in that day, that hunt, that deer, that what's going on that day. You never know what you're going to have to do. So you should have had to practice that way. So if it's left hand, free hand, or in a stand on a bench rest, whatever shot you make at your target, an established target, that your shot is one that drops the deer right there or certainly close by. Don't you think that's a good idea? I always do. And I just got a new rifles this week called CVA Cascade. I'll tell you about it. It's a centerfire CVA. I'll be back. We've yet to receive an answer for the radio prize package. It's an easy question. What was the name of Travis Johnson's outdoor show when he was on television a few years ago? Travis is my grandson, and he had a television show, and it was on the air for a couple of years. What was the name of the television show? And you win coupons and sausage and stuff from Bojangles and Fisher's Choice baits and Arctic Ice freezer pack. It's really worthwhile for you to put your brain in gear. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255 for the radio prize package. If you don't get the answer, then the heck with you. I won't send out the prize package. So what do you think of that? I'm not in a good mood. Well, yeah, I am. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. College football is here. It doesn't mean you can't go fishing in the morning before the telecasts begin. I know I had a sponsor for many, many years, and they were really big into sponsoring football. I won't say who it is. Doesn't matter. And he was talking about how they participate in the winning team. They're the winning team. They're, you know something? When you go hunting and fishing, you win every time. You don't have to shoot anything. You don't have to catch anything. But if you go hunting and fishing with your family, you go hunting and fishing maybe with take the little kid, the friend of your son that lives down the street whose dad is not a fisherman and not a hunter and not an outdoorsman. If you get him to go with you, let him carry a friend, and they win every time. Time to take a break. I've got to get more coffee. You stay right there. We've got another hour of outdoors headed your way. What a surprise. Good morning, boys and girls, from Black Powder headquarters at Three Falls Cabin in the North Georgia mountains. CVA presents Real Tree Radio. Welcome to a brand new, unused Saturday morning. Just listening to the music. Yes, indeed, O'Neill Outside. No politics, no finance, no controversies. All about outdoors for the next hour. We do this every Saturday morning, 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., 95.5 WSB, across the country to 38 states, and the SB Nation, Sports Broadcast Nation, to 100-plus stations, all the way to Maine and L.A. and Seattle and Miami. So welcome to the program, everyone. It's 6 minutes after the hour. We have coming up a lot of calls, and we'll get to every one of those. We have a winner in the radio prize package. We have the Medal of Honor tribute, and we have a lot of calls from you guys. The telephone numbers are 404-872-0750 or 800-972-8255. In the first hour of the program, we discussed with Donna, a female, a lady calling. She calls frequently, about becoming an outdoors woman. There are programs from the Georgia Department of Natural Resources that will help with that. You can become an outdoors woman, and I'm sure it's state programs from the Department of Natural Resources all across the country. You can become confident, knowledgeable, fearless, and enjoy the outdoors. It opens up an entire world for you that will last you a lifetime if you understand the outdoors. Fishing, hunting, and you can enjoy without catching a single fish. You can enjoy without shooting a single deer or a turkey or a hog. But you can enjoy, and it will open up an entire world to you. Last night, or yesterday evening, Gail and I were enjoying that there was a barred owl to our left, and he started calling, and another barred owl to our right, or reverse, started calling. And we sat quietly and listened to these two barred owls challenge each other. And we didn't pull a trigger. I'll get to your calls when I get back. A couple of very crass self-promotions. Welcome back. This is O'Neill. And then we'll get to the callers. This program, as you can see it live right now on Facebook. You can see it throughout the week on Facebook and multi-stations all over the country. Number two, visit my website, and you will find out all the places you can listen to the O'Neill Outside podcast, and this is one of them. and then I do a separate podcast that promotes my book and the chapters in the book. The book is called O'Neill Outside, 65 Years in the Outdoors, People and Places Along the Way. It's not John Steinbeck, it's not Hemingway, but you might enjoy the read. You can get it at Amazon, and you can buy it on my website, and I will sign the copy and personalize it if you order it off my website. Okay, now we need to give away the radio prize package. It's 13 after the hour, and the question was, a few years ago, Travis Johnson, my grandson, had his own television show. And let's see, Ron is calling from Homer, Georgia. Good morning, Ron.
Good morning, O'Neill. How are you this morning?
Good. All right, you're about to win the radio prize package. What was the name of his television show?
Travis Johnson Outdoors.
Wasn't that easy?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
Nobody got that question. That's the reason why I called back in later. I was driving to work, and I just couldn't believe nobody got that one.
Yeah, well, it was too easy. They thought I was trying to trick them. But you got it, and give us a couple of weeks to get it to you, if you will.
Okay, sir.
Good deal. Thanks for calling. Have a great weekend, pal.
All right, now. Bye-bye.
You bet. See you later. Now let's chat now. Who's up next? Let's chat now with Brett is calling on O'Neill Outside. Good morning, Brett. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Roswell, Georgia.
Okay, right down the road.
Yeah. I moved here from Ohio, and I'm just trying to I was a pretty good avid outdoorsman up there. I've got a 1,280-acre farm up there that we've got deer on, but I live in Atlanta. And do I need, if I want to go deer hunting, do I need to join a preserve, or how do you do it down here? And number two, I like small, I don't like largemouth bass. Mm-hmm. I like pan fry fish like bluegills, I guess you call them brim down here. You got any recommendations about those two and where the best place to get those are?
Well, the easiest places that you can go as far as the panfish goes, the easiest places for you to find that are fully stocked year-round and absolutely loaded with brim or bluegill or whatever, or sunfish, whatever the case might be, would be the Department of Natural Resources ponds and state parks. You'll have a dock, the dock to fish from, if you will. Use some Fisher's Choice baits or whatever you like, something that's stinky and good, and the fish just love them. And those ponds are kept stocked year round.
What size fish do you get out of there?
Well, you can get some pretty good size brim out of there.
Really?
Yes, indeed.
Boy, that sounds like a good thing. That sounds like
right.
Just what I'm looking for.
You betcha. Now, as far as your hunting goes, okay, you need a hunting license, okay, of course, and being out of state, you can look on the DNR website and read a little bit about whether you have to have a hunter safety course. I do not think that you will have to do. I should know that answer, but I don't. You don't have to.
I used to be a park ranger in the state of Ohio, so I don't think I'll have a problem with that.
Good. Is this your first season of hunting whitetails in Georgia?
Yes.
Okay, that's gonna. Now I'll warn you, this is not the same deer.
Yeah, no. How big do they get down here?
Well, a buck scoring 125, which is bigger than most people think. There's, a 125 is pretty good size antler. That's an Ohio deer. What is a really good deer is what, a 160.
About a 170, yeah. You get a 170.
Good one. Down here,
a wild one that's out there in the field eating farmer's grain off my field. They get, they'll weigh 275 pounds.
Right.
They're pretty good size.
Yeah, and we have a fabulous population. The deer limit is 12. And it's one of the longest seasons in any state in the country, and you can take 9 antlerless deer and 3 antlered deer.
That's per year?
Per year.
That's a lot.
Oh, yeah. We've got a fabulous...
We got a limit in Ohio of 3.
Yes.
Wow.
And you have a short season, too, do you not?
Oh, yeah. 2 months.
Well, this one begins next Saturday and lasts till January.
Wow.
Yeah, wow is right. But it's going to be a different deer, so what you see is going to represent something different to you, and it's likely that you're going to hunt a lot closer here than there.
Okay.
You follow? You're going to hunt.
Yeah.
You're going to generally hunt small food plots and woods and trails in the woods and acorn stands where the oak trees versus big fields and farms in Ohio.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun, man.
Well, that's good. So what do I need to do? I need to go to a local farmer or rancher and just knock on his door and ask if I can hunt his land with a license, or
no, that's going to be busy and not very productive. But I tell you what, why don't you get a number one? The first thing for you to do would be to go to the Georgia Department of Natural Resources and locate very easily the wildlife management areas.
Gotcha.
The public fishing areas, and it allows me to tell you, with your background that you've already told me about, that the public fishing area, hunting areas, the wildlife management areas are underutilized.
Really?
And for someone like yourself, here are your tips. There's big deer there. There are a lot of deer there, but hunt during the week. Hunt far from the road, and hunt late into the season, because most everybody else has already quit, number one. Number two, they hunt close to their truck, and they hunt on the weekend. If you can reverse all that,
you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. That's like going to a poker game with 100 guys,
That's exactly right.
That ain't worth a damn. You got to be out there alone early in the morning,
That's right. You bet. Hey, call me back and let me know about your progress, will you?
Yes, sir. I appreciate your time, sir, and you have a lovely weekend.
You too. Thank
you.
Excellent call. Excellent call. Let's see. 20 minutes after the hour. I don't have time to talk to Hank and the Roadster and Mac right now. Well, I'll duck out of here in about a minute and then I'll get to those calls. 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. Don't forget about the O'Neill Outside podcast, the O'Neill Outside book. And I understand Hank the Yank has a book coming out next year. Ooh, I can't wait for that. And when we return after these calls, you can look forward later in the program to listening to the Medal of Honor. And I'm going to tell you, because I've got 30 seconds, I want to tell you how that transpired. We'll get to the Medal of Honor. That transpired because about 4 years ago, or 5, a very talented singer passed away. She drowned in her bathtub from a drug overdose. She drowned. And the flags went to half staff in her state. That made me mad. So we started the Medal of Honor tribute. People that gave their lives and risked their lives, and you don't even know their names. That started the Medal of Honor tribute, and we'll do that at 5:40. But right now, let's duck out of here, and then we'll get to the calls when we return. Welcome back, everyone. We are a little bit behind on our calls, so permit me to get to them on O'Neill Outside Radio. We've been holding on quite a while here. Here's to the Roadster. What do you say, my man Roadster? What's going on with you?
Good morning, Big Shorty. How are you?
Good.
Couple things quick. I got the top down. I'm headed to Brigadoon on Sequoia River.
Ooh.
That's where I'm going to be deposit my ashes. Get back to the state of Georgia when I pass on.
Okay.
I'm not going to fish, but that's just my favorite area of the world. And I wanted to hit you. I'm a car guy, And your new solvent line that you have just put out, the German cream, silver cream that everybody uses. I'm not going to give them a plug, but that is so hard to deal with because, especially for detail work, it gets into crevices and you can't. Do you have anything that works like that product that's easy, that will take off surface rust and make it easier?
I do not. I'm not a maintenance guy. I'm not an improvement guy, and I'm not a craftsman.
Well,
I wish I could help you on that, but I cannot.
Well, I was just wondering because that is a great product, but it's just it is a pain to deal with.
Yeah.
So maybe Hank the Yank will know something a little bit more about that.
He's not, but we're going to ask him.
All right, good friend. I appreciate you. Oh, by the way,
yes.
Do you lease Gail out for a day?
Do I what?
Do you lease Gail out for a day?
She is a compliment to your presence. That's for sure.
Oh, I know. I'm like I said, I'm headed to North Georgia, and it'd be nice to have something as pretty as she is. But I guess she'll just have to stay married.
Oh, goodness gracious! What a chore. We've been. I would have a hard time convincing her of that because we'd been married 54 years.
I understand that, buddy. I appreciate you.
Thanks,
Bye.
pal. I'm glad you called. You bet. Now let's talk to. And there he is. Let's get something out of him. Let's talk to Mac. Is calling. Good morning, Mac. What do you say?
Good morning, everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
Everybody's ready.
All right, I have my first question for you.
All right.
All right, the water temperature is not substantially changed at all, right?
No, last 10 days, no.
Okay. Does the reduced number of hours of daylight affect the fishing?
I think yes, because I think it affects the fish behavior.
Okay.
And I think they know you can see subtle changes on the lake. Patterns are changing. Fishing's still good, and we're still in the deep water stuff. But yes, I think the decreased number of hours of daylight triggers some responses to get them ready for the season change. Absolutely.
That's right. And before we get to your subject, then I'll ask you the following: the answer to your question would have been the same had I asked it last August of 2018. Would the answer be the same?
Absolutely, positively.
Okay.
No question.
I like to establish those things.
Yeah, no, it's we see it every year, and if you put it on the calendar, it's remarkably consistent.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Within just a few days, those things occur, and you can start the things we're seeing now. Little subtle things happen roughly the same date every year within probably a 5 to 7 day window. It's remarkable.
You betcha.
how consistent. So, and fishing's been consistent. So everybody got a tough choice now. This is a tough time of year, especially next weekend when we can shoot lots of things or we can go fishing. And,
yeah.
That's a tough call, man. So I know a lot of guys are going to be out there shooting dove, and I hope everybody's safe, has a great shoot. But if you're going fishing, Lanier and area lakes have been strong. No surprises as far as the patterns. We've got really good trolling bite on Lanier. Umbrellas over humps or anywhere you see concentrations of fish and bait. The live bait bite on a down line is very good. You still need to be cognizant of the fact that hot water and low oxygen makes it tough sometimes to keep a live bait alive on the hook. So you need to check them frequently.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not in good shape, swap them out. And you'll find certain depth zones. Like now on Lanier, it kind of breaks down. Your bait will live well on the hook around 30, and he'll do real well if you're fishing really deep, like 70 plus. In the middle, it's tough to keep one alive. So really, really watch that. You're sitting there wondering why they're not biting because your bait's dead a lot of times. And
yeah, because you're seeing the fish and your bait's in them. Change baits.
Yeah,
put a live bait on there.
You're sitting there watching your sonar, and it's got a lot of activity. You're not getting a bite. Keep them swapped out, especially if you're using bluebacks. Bluebacks are great bait when they're in good shape, but if they're compromised, they are not good baits, and a lot of times you won't get the bite. And it's hard to. I have people all the time. They reel the bait up. they say he's alive. I say, yeah, he's alive, but look at him. He's not a good bait, and there's a huge difference. And they're a little pricey, so it hurts to keep throwing them back in the water. But it's necessary.
That's a small portion of what you just spent.
It is. You go to that much effort.
That's great. Yeah. That's a great tip, Mac.
Well,
that is a great tip. Okay, I want everybody. You put your photos every week on. I guess it must be my news feed or whatever that Facebook thing is.
Yep.
Let's let people track you down on Facebook because your photos are fabulous. You're catching a lot of big fish.
Yeah, lots of big fish, and what I like to see more than anything is smiles on faces.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody frowns when they got a big fish.
It's rare. If they're frowning, we don't put their picture up there. So yeah, we like to see those smiling.
Well done.
Yeah, absolutely. So
that's right. And I'm sure you have lots of them. One last question to put things in reference now. How long has Captain Mac Farr, been a guide on Lake Lanier?
Hang on a second. It's going to take me a while to count that many years. It's been a while. This is 35 years.
Oh, my goodness.
You know what?
Fabulous.
I think about exactly
Absolutely
what I say.
fabulous.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Oh, my goodness. What happened?
Yeah. And now, how long have we been calling in and doing this every Saturday morning? 25 years?
29.
29 years.
29 years. Well, no, 28 years. 28.
Okay.
Isn't that something?
That's another, oh, my goodness.
Yeah, got a lot of those lately. All right, my good friend, let's let everybody contact Captain Mac.
You can call us at 770-271-0851, or we're online at Captain Mac, CAPTMACKS, and you can see the same fishing report in a much expanded version on our Facebook page at Captain Mac.
Mighty fine. Glad you called, Mac.
Everybody have fun. Be safe.
See you later, pal. You bet. Well, there you go. I'm always cutting everybody off early. Oh, my goodness. He's been holding on quite a while. Let's talk to Hank the Yank. What do you say?
Boy, I'll tell you, you and Mac are old.
I think.
You guys are like Neanderthals.
I know. It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yep. And then for that other gentleman who called.
It's a law.
It's a I believe it. You know, that other gentleman who called about wanting
It's a law.
We need to just let everybody know how very far up you married. You married way up.
Oh, I did, didn't I?
You absolutely did.
Gail had a scrapbook out yesterday, just flipping through some photos. And I know this is self-serving, but she flipped a photo with when Gail was in a wedding when she was about 30 years old. Hank, oh my goodness.
I believe it.
Scary.
Well, listen,
I stole the picture. I have it sitting on my desk.
I saw a picture of you as a little boy holding a flag, and there were only 13 stars.
Uh-huh.
You're a real American hero. Oh, my God, from the Revolution. Anyway, so listen.
Okay.
So you haven't hung up on me yet. That's a good thing. You know I love you.
That's right.
Anyway, so let me tell you, I'm not giving you a fishing report today, and I don't have anything for that gentleman's rust. If when the other caller who called about wanting to know what to do to take off the rust, when I have something, I'm like you. I'm not a craftsman. When something's rusty, I just throw it away and buy a new one.
There you go. Yeah, I'll give it away. Hey, this is great. Take a look. Fix it up. Use it.
Yeah, it's yours. You know. So anyway,
yeah.
So let me tell you what's going on today, because today is a really special day for us here in North Georgia. We are going
All right,
up
please.
to
You got 1 minute.
We're going up. we're going up to Unicoi Outfitters. Unicoi Outfitters is located at the base of Helen, Georgia. And this is a fly fishing shop that does a lot of work with guys. If you want a trout fish, you want a shoal bass fish, you want a striper fish, you want a carp fish. And today is their 25-year celebration of being in business up in North Georgia and serving the community. And so there's going to be hot dogs and hamburgers for everybody who comes. Sweetwater Brewing Company has supplied a whole bunch of beer. We're going to have tying demos. I'm going to be up there tying flies. We're going to also be giving away some trips. We've got a free striper trip going to somebody for Lanier. We're going to have a free carp trip. They're giving away a $700-800 fully rigged fly rod outfit from Orvis and I think Ross Reels.
Oh boy!
And so there's just a lot of stuff going on. The recently retired head of the DNR for North Georgia, who stocks all our lakes and rivers with trout and striped bass and brim and walleye. Jeff Derniak is going to be up there, so you can talk with him as well.
Okay.
There's just going to be a lot of stuff going on.
Henry, I'm gonna put you on hold and get back to you because I want to know more about it. And I'll put you on hold. Help me, Corey.
Okay.
This is O'Neill. We'll be back. Harold Wilson, Marine Corps, Korea, 1951. When the company was attacked by a fierce mortar, machine gun, grenade, and small arms under cover of darkness, Sergeant Wilson braved intense fire to assist the survivors back into the line and to direct the treatment of casualties. Although already twice wounded by gunfire in the right arm and the left leg, he refused medical aid for himself and continued to move about among his men, shouting words of encouragement. After receiving further wounds in his head and shoulder, he again insisted upon remaining with his unit. Unable to use either arm to fire, mounting casualties among the forces, he resupplied his men with rifles and ammunition taken from the wounded. After placing the reinforcement in strategic positions in the line, he was blown off his feet by a mortar round in his face. Dazed and suffering from a concussion, he still refused medical aid and, despite weakness from loss of blood, moved from foxhole to foxhole, directing fire, resupplying ammunition, and rendering first aid and encouraging his men. By his heroic actions in the face of almost certain death, when the unit's ability to hold the position was doubtful, he instilled confidence in his troops, inspiring them to rally and make the attack repulsed. He personally accounted for each man in his platoon before walking unassisted a half mile to the aid station where he finally submitted to treatment. His outstanding courage, initiative, and skilled leadership in the face of overwhelming odds were contributing factors in the success of his company's mission and reflect the highest credit upon Sergeant Wilson and the U.S. Naval Service. Sergeant Harold Wilson died in 1998. 42 after the hour. I hope you enjoyed that. I always get a huge kick out of presenting that to you. Now we're still talking with Hank because he has a destination for you this weekend. Don't you, Hank?
I do. You know, that always throws a lump in my throat, by the way, every time you read that. Isn't that fabulous?
I will tell you, and then we'll get to the point. I have to read this maybe a dozen times before I can get through it.
I believe it. I every year I look forward to when you read the one about your dad. I won't miss a show listening to you talk about him. That just puts a lump in my throat listening to you say that. I love it. I really do.
Thank you.
But anyway, so Helen, Georgia is the destination today.
Yes.
Jimmy Harris and the boys up at Unicoi Outfitters, who've been doing business up in North Georgia for 25 years and teaching people how to fly fish, and they have a lot of leased streams. with pay and play. So, like one gentleman called earlier saying he loved, how much he loved. I think it was Roadster said how he loved Brigadoon and the Soquee. They fished the Soquee. They fished Nacoochee Bend. They fished at Toccoa. They fished the whole Chattahoochee system for shoal bass and stripers. They are one of our pride and joy outfitters up here in North Georgia. And so today is their 25-year celebration, and they've got reps coming in. They've got reps coming in from all over. The Orvis rep will be there. The Sims truck will be there. So anybody who really wants to, learn about fly fishing, how to do it, there'll be casting demonstrations, tying demonstrations, products to show people how to use. And so if you just want to learn more about the outdoors and especially about fly fishing, and it doesn't just have to be about fly fishing because we're all conventional anglers as well. But it's just a great time to come have a hamburger or a hot dog that they're going to be putting on the grill, sit back and sit on the front porch. It's a wonderful place up right as you're getting into the town of Helen. And that's going to be going on from 10 to 3 p.m., from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. today up at Unicoi Outfitters. And like I said, you had a gentleman who just moved down here from Ohio who wanted to know about brim fishing.
Yes.
Well, Jeff Derniak, one of the heads of the DNR who stocked all those North Georgia lakes and rivers, will be there to discuss stuff like that with.
Fabulous.
So it's going to be just a great day to come out and just honor a wonderful organization that served the community for a lot of years and continues to do so.
And probably anybody can look up Unicoi Outfitters on the internet and get directions.
Yep, they're right on Helen Highway. Right on Helen. They are literally a stone's throw away from Nora Bill Granary.
Okay.
That's been around. That's another nice thing. When you get done at Unicoi, you can go over to the granary and pick yourself up some homemade grits that they've been
stone ground grits.
Some stone ground grits that's been going since the 1850s or 60s. That granary, if I'm not mistaken, and
I
they're
believe
just
so.
A stone's throw away from that. So
that's great.
Anyway, that's what we got going on. And other than that, O'Neill, that's all I got going on. I'm finishing up the book. We're working on the pictures, and life is good.
I can't wait for that book to be published so that I can get my hands on it.
Well, you're part of the book because one of the biggest to me, the greatest line I've ever heard about striped bass in freshwater and rivers, the greatest line that I've ever heard from my friend O'Neill was, striped bass don't know where they live.
No, they don't.
And that's the truest statement I've ever heard. So anybody who fishes for stripers, whether they're in Northern California or they're catching them in Illinois or they're catching them in Virginia or even in North Georgia, the fish do the same thing everywhere because they don't know where they live, and it's probably one of the greatest and most true lines I've ever heard.
Well,
so that is in the book with your name as well, giving credit for that because
good.
I
Is
love
that a whole?
it.
Is that a whole chapter about O'Neill? Just that one thing?
I think it's 2 sentences.
Okay, good.
It's 2 sentences. I'd save the chapter for Gail.
Oh boy! Oh my goodness! All right, my good friend. Hey, have a great day at Unicoi Outfitters.
Yes,
I wish
sir.
I could be there.
I wish you were too. And you're off next week, correct? So when I come back in 2 weeks, Georgia will be 3-0, and we'll right next week we're off, if I'm not mistaken.
Are we? I'll be damned. I don't remember. Pardon me.
But I got an email. That said we're off. We're off next week. I think you're doing some fishing somewhere.
Oh. No, well, okay. All right. Oh, my goodness. Karen, are we off next week?
No, sir.
No, we're on next week. It's the following month. You can't. All my emails are suspect, Henry.
Okay, so this was October. They were sending out an email for October.
Yeah, it was October.
Oh my God, I got. Okay, then listen. I'll speak to you when we're 2-0.
There we go. There we are. It'll be 2-0 by then.
Yeah, go Dogs.
Go Dogs, huh?
Take care, pal.
All right, I'll see you later, my good friend. There you are. It's 48 after the hour. No, we're not off next week. We're in. You got to give me a break here. This it's tough to arrange when you work one day a week. Yeah, I work one day a week. It's 7 days a week. just like Karen and Brian Green and everybody else that associated with the program. Amy, my daughter, Allison, my daughter, even Travis now, who lives now back in Georgia. He is back here with his wife. He got married last month. Anyway, that's the family tradition. So 404-872-0750, 800-972-8255. What a great idea it would be. And I do this often. But if you'll pay attention and if you'll give this a try, I promise it will work for you. I gave the example a few moments ago about appreciating the outdoors and the fact that you don't have to shoot anything, you don't have to catch anything, you don't have to kill anything to understand it and receive enjoyment from it. 2 nights ago, I believe it was, Gail and I are sitting out on the deck here at the cabin, and we heard a barred owl on one side of the mountain and answers from another barred owl on the other side of the mountain. How is that enjoyable? Because we knew what it was. We knew it was a barred owl and could even tell when he changed his position on the limb. When he called in one direction and then turned around and called in the other direction. That was enjoyable. And in that case, if you'll take your wife, children, if you'll take them into the wildlife management areas, into the hiking trails, it doesn't have to be a 20-mile hike for you to enjoy the outdoors. Just sit still. And ad nauseum, I say this almost every week. Keep quiet and listen, and the woods will wake up around you, and you will know more and enjoy more and be more proficient and have more knowledge than when you walked in the woods. 51 minutes after the hour. Let's see if we have any calls that's popped in here. I see Wade is still on there listening from Kentucky. But we're at 51 after the hour right now. My recommendations are for your sources of availability of hunting areas, land, outdoors, education, ponds, streams. There's no better source for you to expand and enjoy the outdoors than the Department of Natural Resources. Whether you live in Tennessee or Georgia, wherever the case might be, those places which are quite frankly underutilized are fabulous outdoors. For instance, today, and I should have done this last week, today at in Perry, Georgia, is a cast and blast event at the Flat Creek management area. Join us at the Flat Creek for cast and blast kids event and dove shoot. Kids get to hunt free, and they have doves. And what a fabulous idea that would be. You don't have to lease any land. You don't have to take a mysterious venture anywhere. The Department of Natural Resources will provide that for you. And if you haven't done so, with some terrific state parks and recreation areas in this state and states all over the country with affordable, pleasant, well-equipped, stylized state parks and places to visit. In Georgia, oh my goodness, Vogel State Park. This afternoon it'll be hard to get in there because there'll be so many people there. Because it's a great place to visit. So the Department of Natural Resources has multiple locations and a mountain of information for you to enjoy the outdoors. So O'Neill here, and we'll take a break here in about 10 seconds, and then we'll come back and we'll finish the program, and then you can enjoy the outdoors I'll go back to bed for a couple of hours before I have to get up and do household chores for the rest of the day. This is O'Neill. I'll be back. We'll close out the program this morning with some self-serving, crass self-promotion in the following fashion. You can catch O'Neill's podcast, this show. It's on live right now on Facebook, and it will appear live on O'Neill Outside Facebook throughout the week. It is also a podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud and iGoogle and Waypoint TV and on and on and on, along with my other podcasts, which are rather self-serving, of course. And it's not an interview with somebody who's written a book. It's just a conversation between O'Neill and you, if you're willing to listen. You can visit o'neilloutside.com. Right there on the homepage, the very beginning of the homepage at o'neilloutside.com, and you can arrange the purchase of my book called O'Neill Outside. Appropriate, huh? O'Neill Outside, People and Places Along the Way, 65 years in the outdoors. And if you order it over the internet, then I will, under your direction, I will personalize and sign the book. I know it's too cheap. It's only like $14 or $15, but I've got a supply of them, and I'm trying to get rid of them. Something like that. Beyond that, at o'neilloutside.com website, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you will see a cruise, information about a cruise out of Seattle that we are taking next year. It's the number one cruise I've ever been on. I've done it a couple of times. Cruising from Seattle up the inland waterway, or what's called the Lynn Canal, up to Ketchikan or wherever it is. And it'll be a week's cruise, and we'll be listening to the glaciers and looking at the sea lines and having some great views on the mountains on either and both sides of the ship. Well, what the heck. This is O'Neill. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week on O'Neill Outside. And remember this, memories are what make up life. Build them and record them. This is O'Neill. I'll see you next week.
I once asked a mighty hunter, coming home from the field, how he came to possess such mighty hunting and fishing skill. He said, "I'll tell you a secret, son. I learned everything I know from listening to O'Neill Outside on my radio." O'Neill, O'Neill.